For decades, they've been fierce rivals, locked in a bare-knuckle brawl for silicon supremacy. But what if, in a move that stunned the tech world, Nvidia and Intel joined forces in a jaw-dropping $5 billion alliance? Now, to be clear, this hasn't happened. But industry pressures make this kind of deal more possible than ever. In today's video, we're going to unpack the secret strategy behind such a monumental partnership, explore why both sides might bet their entire futures on it, and ultimately, figure out which company, if either, would come out on top. It's a high-stakes thought experiment, and we're here to break down every single play. First, let's take a look at the moment that could change everything. Imagine the headline: Nvidia, the AI titan, pumping $5 billion straight into Intel's foundry division. Not alone, not symbolic, a massive stake earmarked for co-designed chips and factory space. If this happened, Wall Street would explode. Intel stock could jump double digits in a single day. Nvidia might dip slightly at first, but investors would quickly realize the bigger picture. Each company's biggest weakness solved by the other's biggest strength. Intel desperately needs fab customers and cutting-edge products. Nvidia desperately needs CPU integration and more manufacturing diversification outside Taiwan. Together, it's survival meeting opportunity. But will Intel ever say yes? Well, Intel has been stuck. Its Arc GPUs trail Nvidia's RTX line by years. Data centers increasingly demand hybrid systems mixing Intel CPUs with Nvidia GPUs. Without a GPU win, Intel loses wallet share. A $5 billion investment from Nvidia could validate Intel's foundry strategy, particularly its Intel 18A process. Imagine Nvidia licensing RTX chiplets to Intel, stacked directly on future Xeons. That means Intel could sell integrated CPU plus GPU packages, slashing power use and cutting motherboard costs for cloud providers. It would give Intel something it hasn't had in years, a compelling GPU story backed by Nvidia's own IP. Now, let's look at why Nvidia would need Intel. Nvidia dominates AI accelerators today, holding 80 to 90% market share. But rivals are rising: AMD's MI300, Google's TPUs, and custom silicon from hyperscalers. Nvidia's failed ARM acquisition shows regulators won't let them buy their way into CPU dominance. So Plan B could be Intel, co-designing CPUs with NVLink tightly integrated to Nvidia GPUs. Built at Intel's fabs, this wouldn't just boost performance, it would diversify Nvidia's supply chain beyond Taiwan. With global tensions rising, that kind of insurance policy could be priceless. But have you thought about the risks in a deal like this? No mega alliance is perfect. For Intel, the risk is handing its roadmap to Nvidia, a fierce competitor. For Nvidia, the risk is relying on Intel's manufacturing, which has stumbled in the past. And culturally, the companies couldn't be more different: Intel's bureaucracy versus Nvidia's startup speed. Add US export controls to the mix, and you've got a very fragile balance. Let's say these two giants team up finally. What happens to the other players like AMD, ARM, and TSMC? If Nvidia and Intel teamed up, AMD would face its toughest fight yet. Its chiplet strategy could be undercut by fully fused Intel-Nvidia packages. ARM server plays from Qualcomm or Apple could also lose momentum if x86, supercharged with Nvidia IP, stays dominant. Even TSMC would feel the impact. If Nvidia moved volume to Intel fabs, TSMC's pricing power could weaken. One deal could ripple across the entire semiconductor world. Now, let's look at the short-term expert scorecard. In the short run, Nvidia would likely remain the clear revenue leader, thanks to CUDA's lock-in. Intel, meanwhile, would gain credibility for its foundry business, showing it can land marquee customers beyond itself. AMD and ARM? They'd feel pressure, but not collapse, at least not yet. In a long term, zooming out to 2030, if Intel executes on 18A flawlessly, the combo could rival Wintel of the PC era. Intel providing scale and fabs, Nvidia providing GPUs and software. But if Intel slips again, Nvidia has options. They could walk away and stick with TSMC. For Intel, this kind of deal would truly be make or break. So, who dominates the chip market in 5 years? If we're betting on software, ecosystem, and AI cash flow, it's Nvidia. If we're betting on manufacturing scale, integration, and comeback potential. Intel has a shot. But one thing is certain, the future of chips will be built not just on raw speed, but on tightly integrated AI-first platforms. What do you think? Would Nvidia and Intel teaming up reshape the entire industry? Or would it just be another what if that never materializes? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe to Digiwallet Hub for more deep dives into the Silicon Wars.